My subconscious isn't just a collection of beliefs, it's intertwined with my future. And if I don't grasp how to shift that connection, I'll keep reliving the same reality repeatedly, even when I think I've changed. Most people never realize this because the loop feels like life itself. It feels like routine. It feels like personality. It feels like that's just how things are for me. But behind the familiar, there's a pattern. Behind my thoughts, a frequency. And behind that frequency, a code. And that code is currently being broadcast by a version of myself that I don't consciously remember choosing. There's a field operating in the background of my mind, a hidden architecture shaping what I attract, how I feel, and who I believe myself to be. It doesn't respond to my words. It doesn't care about what I want. It responds to what I am beneath the story. It responds to the entanglement. What I'm about to hear isn't a lesson. It's a revelation of the invisible mechanism that ties my subconscious to repeating timelines and how to begin breaking free, not by force, but by frequency. Because once I understand how the field truly operates, I no longer chase change. I become the code itself. I've likely heard the term quantum entanglement before, perhaps in a documentary, maybe in some spiritual content. It sounds intricate, futuristic, scientific, but also abstract. What if I told you it's not abstract at all? That it's not just about subatomic particles floating in deep space behaving mysteriously? What if quantum entanglement is happening inside me right now, and I'm feeling its effects every single day without knowing it? Let's dismantle the myth. In basic terms, quantum entanglement is when two particles become connected in such a way that the state of one instantly affects the state of the other, regardless of how far apart they are. Einstein referred to it as spooky action at a distance. But he was mistaken about one thing. There's nothing spooky about it. It's precise. It's the blueprint of the universe. And more importantly, it's the blueprint of my mind. Because what scientists are discovering, and mystics have known for centuries, is that entanglement doesn't stop at particles. It occurs at the level of thought, emotion, identity. It occurs at the level of memory, belief, energetic resonance. Every experience I've had, every trauma, every decision, every feeling I didn't express, it didn't vanish. It became entangled. And here's the dangerous part. It became entangled with me across time, with versions of myself that still exist, with timelines that are still open, with possibilities I've never consciously accessed, but are currently looping in my subconscious. This isn't a metaphor. This is field science. Because when a particle becomes entangled, it no longer holds its own isolated state. It shares information instantly, simultaneously, across what we perceive as space and time. And I, as a vibrational being, am no different. I am not isolated. I am not separate. I am not even linear. I am an entangled system of thoughts, memories, intentions, patterns, fears, desires, and frequencies. I am broadcasting codes into the field and receiving codes back based on who and what I am entangled with. So let me ask, have I ever felt like I was reliving something over and over? Like no matter how much I change, something pulls me back. That's not a block. That's a quantum tether, a silent connection between me and a version of my life that never truly ended. One that still echoes in my thoughts, my emotions, my reactions. I try to grow. I try to shift. I do the inner work. But deep down, something resists. That resistance isn't laziness. It's not weakness. It's the entanglement. It's the emotional field looping an outdated frequency. One that no longer matches the me that I'm becoming. And unless I collapse that bond, unless I shift the frequency of the loop, I'll keep sinking back to that version of reality, like a magnetic pull, like gravity, but invisible. Here's what most people get wrong. They think they need to fix themselves, rewrite their beliefs, say better affirmations, visualize harder. But quantum entanglement doesn't respond to conscious will. It responds to vibrational coherence. That means my subconscious field, my deep emotional and energetic baseline, must be tuned to a new signal. Not temporarily, not occasionally, but stabilized. And here's the twist. I don't need to find the entangled version of myself and cut it off. I need to transmute it. I need to communicate with it. I need to shift its frequency from within the field, because I'm not just entangled with my past, I'm also entangled with my potential, with my higher path, with the me that already exists in a reality of coherence, expansion, and alignment. That version of me isn't waiting for me. It's already broadcasting, but I can't hear it. If I'm still entangled with noise, I must tune in. And tuning in isn't about doing more. It's about becoming still enough to feel the code. In the next chapter, I'm going to explore something even more subtle and more powerful. How my subconscious mind became entangled in the first place and why. Until I shift that hidden programming, my conscious efforts will always be overridden by something deeper. Because once I see how the code was installed, I can finally begin to rewrite it. Not by force, but through alignment. Get ready. There's something I've believed most of my life. It's the belief that my thoughts are my own, that my mind belongs to me, that what I think, want, or choose is coming from my conscious self. But that's not true, and deep down, I felt it. I felt it every time I made a decision that made no sense. Every time I sabotaged what I said I wanted. Every time my body reacted before my thoughts could explain it. That's not me failing. That's me living from a mind that was never entirely mine to begin with. Because before I had language, before I had identity, I had programming from my family, from my culture, from everything I absorbed through emotion, sensation, and frequency. And those early impressions, most of them received before age 7, became entangled into my field as unquestioned truth. Not truth because they were real, truth because they were repeated. And repetition in the quantum field is code. See, my subconscious doesn't learn by logic. It learns by rhythm, by exposure, by resonance. Whatever it feels most often, it interprets as safe. And whatever is safe, it defends even if it's destroying me. This is why so many people feel blocked when they try to change. They say things like, I don't know why I keep attracting the same type of relationship. I want abundance, but I sabotage every opportunity. I'm trying to be different, but I feel pulled back into who I used to be. That pull, that's the entangled mind at work. My subconscious doesn't care what I want. It cares what I've been trained to expect. And until I shift that expectation at the frequency level, I'll keep recreating familiar loops with new faces, new jobs, new spiritual tools, and but the same emotional signature. The truth is, my mind has been colonized, not by a person, not by a force, but by a repetition of low-frequency programming. And here's the hard part. Some of that programming feels like my personality, some of it feels like my intuition, some of it even feels like truth. But it's not, it's protection, a survival mechanism built inside a version of me that only ever learned how to cope, not how to expand, not how to choose, not how to align with the version of reality where I already am free. But if my mind is so deeply entangled with what it learned from pain, how do I reclaim it? I don't fight it. I don't shame it. I don't try to outthink the field. I make a choice to remember that my subconscious isn't just a database, it's a transmitter. And what it transmits becomes my life. And here's the key most people never hear. My subconscious mind isn't just programmed by my past, it's tuned by my entanglements, meaning the people I'm connected to, the energies I engage with, the memories I rehearse, the emotions I revisit in silence. They all send signals back into my field. And if I never clear those lines, I keep receiving feedback from an outdated version of myself, one that no longer matches the reality I say I want. So the question isn't how do I think better thoughts? The question is who or what is my mind still entangled with? Because it could be a memory, a version of me, a parent, a trauma, a silence that was never broken, an identity that was never questioned. And until I bring coherence to that connection, it will keep redirecting my energy back into the loop. But here's the breakthrough. I am not my patterns. I am not my programming. I am not the echo. I am the signal. And when the signal gets clear, the field responds, the mind shifts, the body aligns, the reality bends. In the next chapter, we go there. I'll learn the actual method to begin untangling from outdated frequencies and how to align my subconscious field with the reality my soul has already chosen, but my mind hasn't caught up with yet. It's not about doing more. It's about tuning in to what's already broadcasting just outside of my current range. We'll step into that next. Because once I feel the frequency of who I truly am, the mind no longer resists. It remembers. Now that I understand the field, now that I feel the entanglement, I'm ready to shift. But not the way the world taught me. This isn't about forcing change. It's not about repeating new affirmations or writing down goals in a journal. Because the subconscious field doesn't respond to words, it responds to frequency. And that frequency must be encoded through sensation, emotion, and presence. That's how we recode. But first, something important. I can't shift what I still identify with. So before we do anything, I need to choose. I need to make the conscious decision to release my current identity as the ultimate source of truth. Not because it's wrong, but because it's incomplete. The me that has lived this far was necessary. It survived. It navigated pain. It held it all together, but it was wired to a version of reality that no longer serves who I am becoming. And so the shift begins here, right now. Take a deep breath. Inhale slowly and exhale fully. Let the body soften. Let the jaw unclench. Let the shoulders melt. Feel gravity holding me. And now imagine this. There is a thread of light running through my spine from the top of my head to the base of my body. This thread is the signal, the carrier of code, the link between my field and the greater field. Now visualize this thread beginning to pulse slowly, rhythmically, like a heartbeat. With every pulse, a wave of energy expands outward, and it starts to clear static. Static from old loops, old entanglements, old identities. I'm not erasing them. I'm acknowledging them and choosing something different. Now bring my attention to my chest, right at the center of the heart. Imagine this point is a transmitter capable of emitting a coherent signal into the quantum field. Now ask myself, not with my mind, but with my energy, what reality have I been broadcasting that I no longer wish to repeat? Don't answer with words. Let the feeling arise. Let the truth rise in silence. And now, with that awareness present, bring in the new frequency, not a fantasy, not a future, but the version of me that already exists in alignment, clarity, love, and flow. See them, feel them, breathe with them, and now breathe as them. Feel their breath in my lungs, their confidence in my posture, their stillness in my chest. Let it happen now. Let the merge begin. Not as a mental concept, but as a frequency match. I'm not imagining. I'm tuning. I am syncing my subconscious field with a timeline that already exists, one that's been waiting for me to remember. And in this moment, I do. Now silently or out loud, repeat the following phrase, but only if I mean it. I release the loop. I reclaim the code. I return to alignment again. Let it vibrate in me. I release the loop. I reclaim the code. I return to alignment. Feel it echo across my system. And now one more breath. Inhale deeply, hold. Exhale slowly. Let the shift integrate. This is not the end. This is the opening because I've just emitted a new signal, one the field will respond to, but only if I remain coherent with it. This is the real work. Not repeating steps, but embodying a new frequency as my baseline state. It doesn't require perfection, it requires presence, because when I hold the signal long enough, the feedback changes. Reality reorders, the field responds, the entanglement shifts, and suddenly I'm no longer trying to escape a version of my life. I'm simply no longer a match for it. This is quantum recoding, not forcing new outcomes, but collapsing old timelines by becoming incompatible with their vibration. And the more I stabilize in this coherence, the more invisible changes start becoming visible. People shift, opportunities appear, thoughts rewire, emotions soften. It's not magic, it's resonance. And it begins with one choice to hold the new frequency long enough to become it. In the final chapter, we bring it all together, because there's one last truth to remember, one last activation to ignite. And once I integrate it, I won't just shift my reality. I'll shift who I am within it. And from there, everything begins to respond. Now that I've felt the shift, now that I've breathed as the version of myself who remembers, I'm ready for the final code. But before I activate it, I need to hear this truth, not with my mind, but with my whole field. I was never broken. There was never anything wrong with me. Every loop I lived, every timeline I repeated, every pattern I couldn't explain. They weren't punishments. They were codes sent by my subconscious trying to keep me safe the only way it knew how. Because the mind doesn't cling to pain out of cruelty. It clings to pain out of familiarity. And in the quantum field, familiarity is power. Whatever my system recognizes as known, even if it's chaos, it will recreate. Not because I want it, but because my field believes that's who I am. But that belief, that signal, is no longer mine to carry. Because now I've remembered the truth, that I am not the echo. I am the frequency. I am not the loop. I am the one who chooses what's worth looping. And now I choose different. I choose coherence. I choose clarity. I choose alignment. And most of all, I choose to become a conscious transmitter in the field. Because here's what they never told me. The field is not separate from me. It's not something out there. It's not the universe watching from above. I am the field. I am the feedback loop. I am the code, the signal, the observer, and the outcome. When I shift my coherence, I shift my gravity. And when my gravity changes, reality starts orbiting something else. I don't need to fight for a new life. I need to stabilize a new frequency, and the rest will rearrange. But here's the final code, the one hidden beneath all others. Nothing outside of me changes until I become incompatible with who I used to be. That's the real detachment, not from people, not from outcomes, but from the identity that kept me entangled with limitation. I'm not waiting for a better version of life. I'm simply no longer matching the broadcast of the old one. And the moment I truly understand that, not just intellectually but vibrationally, everything around me begins to respond. People treat me differently. I speak with more clarity. Synchronicities appear. Resistance dissolves. Not because reality changed, but because I did. I became the new signal. And the field, as it always does, obeyed. So now breathe into this final truth. I no longer run from the loop. I no longer resist the field. I become the code. One more time. Breathe with it. I am the code. This isn't a technique. It's a remembering. The remembering that my subconscious is not my enemy. It's my amplifier. And now it's tuned. From this moment forward, I'm not just thinking different. I'm vibrating different. And that difference is what reality mirrors. If I felt this, if something inside me shifted during this journey, don't let it be just another video I watched. Let this be the moment my field changed and never went back. And if I'm walking this path with me, if I'm ready to stay in this frequency and grow into it daily, comment below. I collapse the old code. Let me know I'm here. Let me feel your presence in this field, because this isn't content. This is communion. And if I'm ready to continue, if I want more than videos, if I want to build this new frequency with me, step by step, subscribe now. Not as a click, but as a choice. This space, this channel is a signal. And those who stay shift. I am the field. I am the code. I am the choice point. And now it begins.